Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Sincere from the Standard 81 podcast, and I am going to be your host for tonight. But first, before we get started, let's go ahead and get all the management out of the way. Go ahead and hit that like, hit the subscribe button, and make sure to leave a comment letting me know what you guys all think of it. And if you're watching this after the live, just put after. I'd greatly appreciate it and it'll help me out. P.S. I am putting stuff up on Instagram under Sincere the Artist. It's a series called Let's Talk. Let's talk about it. Uh, once named. What do you want to talk about? So you can go check that out as well. If you get any time and you feel interested, that's more concentrated on specifically relationships and dating, whereas the channel in specifically is more broad and general topics that affect everyday life. So let's get into what the topic is going to be today. We're going to talk about balance. I know that you guys seen the thumbnail and you may have seen the title. So we're going to talk about balance tonight, when it's needed, where it's needed, and if in what situations it's needed, and all that good stuff. Balance is a part of life, but just like I know, anything that I do, I have to define. So give me a second. Let me find my phone, and I'm going to define the word balance for you. So let's pull this up, right? What is balance? Okay, perfect. Let's get this. Let's get my phone, and I'm gonna look this up in a dictionary for you. Check this out. Give me one second here, guys. So the word balance, is defined by the dictionary, it means even even distribution of weight, enabling someone to remain upright and steady, or a condition which the elements are equal or in the proper proportions. What the one I want to concentrate on is number two, a condition which all the elements are equal and in proper proportions. So balance in and of itself, and the way we're talking about it is balance in life, and in relationships and business and all that good stuff. But specifically, more so in relationships, we've got to look at it as something that is needed to help, not a tool not a tool that's going to put parameters around everything. I know we talked about discipline and structure and and I forget the last thing, but forgive me. But discipline and structure, as discipline and structure are going to be the foundations of that. And under that umbrella is balance. Because though your values and your core systems are black and white, and they should be unmoved and unchanged, life is not always black and white. Life has its ups and downs, it has its peaks and valleys, it has its twists and turns. So you got to be ready for that at any time, at any point. And when those things happen is when you need to balance out your life, is when you need to figure out what the proper proportions to put you back on even kill. And for so many of us, we like to concentrate on just the parts that we think are the most important, and we wind up burning ourselves out. We as men, definitely, because our first priorities after a while become helping out others versus helping out ourselves. And if we don't look out for us, we can't help others efficiently and effectively. And this is what balance is: learning to say, okay, I can do this up to a certain point, and then after that I'm done. Or I can't do this because I'm at my limit, and I need to pull back in order to concentrate on what I'm doing. And that's exactly what we're looking into. So let's go to the next point. When is balance needed? I think balance is needed in at all times, at all points in life, but definitely when you're in your most stressful situations, because Learning how to balance things out when everything is chaotic is going to be a critical skill you're going to need. Um, in times of chaos, most people just panic and they begin to overthink. Fight or flight kicks in, and they don't, and all the structures, all the discipline, and all the values that they have seem to go down the drain. And that's when we need to focus the most on, okay, what is this? What's happening? Where do I need to go from here? Because that's when you find out who you really are. That's when you begin to really see if that foundation and that structure you've built really is a lasting thing, or do you need to make some improvements on it? When is another time you need balance? You need balance in relationships. Let's just be honest. For a lot of us, we tend to focus in on what's the good aspects of relationship and not the bad, right? Uh, uh, I hear a lot of people a lot of times like to really point out the negatives after a relationship ends, but when everything is hunky dory or everything is going good, they always concentrate on the greater aspects or the aspects they enjoy about the relationship. And here's what I mean. Um, we need to find out not only what we enjoy about relationships, but who we are enjoying them with. And that's the balance. Because here it is. If you don't like the person you're enjoying the relationship with, eventually the relationship is going to crumble. If you're just only enjoying the parts that satisfy you and gratify you, you're going to tend to find out that everything is going to be unbalanced after a while, because when they're not, if you're giving too much, you start feeling let down. Or if you're getting too much, you start feeling like this is not even important. I can get this at any point. And both of them are incorrect. In a relationship, everybody should be giving and getting, giving and getting, giving and getting, giving and getting. And it's vitally important that you have that in each and every term. But the only way you can build that is to communicate. That's something else I could touch on at a later date, but that is definitely needed. Um, what's another example of when you would need balance in building a business, right? We have aspirations and dreams, and oftentimes we look at the parts that we do like, and we don't look at the parts we don't think about how long it may take. We don't think about the aspects that don't really interest us, the background things, the work and the engineering of it all. We want to concentrate on the stuff that really gets our mind going, which is not a bad thing, but we also need to concentrate on the parts that are going to help elevate us to the next level. Because oftentimes when we start moving towards our dreams or our entrepreneur endeavors, we get stuck in just the parts that we like. And the reason we're not propelling forward is because we don't balance it out with all the other details and all the other minor things that we need to do in order to cross into that next barrier. Even though it's something you may not like per se, that is needed in order to achieve the next level. So, where is balance needed? Uh, I'm gonna go to my slides here because I put some of my slides up, and I really want to use these slides not only because I made them, but I think they're really good for this particular aspect. Uh, let's see if I can pull it up here. Perfect. All right. So I got on this particular slide. Life is a series of circumstances, and when you implement balance, is where is the time and the place and where you should be implementing it. So we already talked about when things are going bad. We already talked about in relationships. We talked about in business. But where specifically do you need the balance? And here it is. You need it in your life. You need it in your life. Because life is filled with a series of different things that you have to do in order to get to the next place that you're going. You have to think that I can't keep running, or I can't keep doing, or I can't keep giving, or I can't go, because eventually you're just going to get worn out. So, where do you need to implement it? You need to implement it in your life. Don't worry about who else doesn't have it yet, because they just don't have the perspective. They don't have the right thing in mind. The balance that is needed in order for you to cross into the next level is the very thing that you're probably missing. And you're saying to yourself, I'm working so hard, I'm trying so hard, I'm reaching out so much. Well, have you ever stopped to think that maybe in all this trying, striving, and pushing, you never stop to clear your mind and clear your head? You never stop to think that maybe I'm doing too much. Maybe it's time to pull back and just let things begin to happen. Let things begin to move in such a way that it feels natural. Now, don't get me wrong, everything in life has a pursuit. In order for you to be great, or in order for you to accomplish anything, you have to pursue it, and you have to give it 100% effort. You have to stay consistent and committed to it. But there, at a certain time, you have to pull back, or you at least have to disengage for a little bit in order to think clearly. A lot of us want to keep pushing when it's time for us to, can you see me? Sit back. When it's time for us to just sit back. When it's time for us to genuinely just chill out and find our own way. And as a Christian, let me say this. A lot of this whole thing of balance has to do with trust. You can't find balance where there is no trust. And I'm bunny trailing off on my topic a little bit here, but I think this is vitally important. You can't find balance where there is no trust. This is why our faith is so important, because we have somebody to 100% put our trust in. That is God the Father and His Son, Jesus Christ. You can't find any balance in a relationship when you don't trust your spouse, when you don't trust your girlfriend or your boyfriend. You can't find any balance in business and entrepreneurial pursuits when you don't trust the thing that you're doing is going to work. These are the places where you need balance, but that balance can't be there if you don't have trust. You need it. You probably, I'm going to tell you the truth, you probably need it more than you think you do. But because you're so used to doing things a certain way and having no assistance and being on your own, you've never established that relationship. You've never established that mentality. You've never established that way of thinking. And now it becomes difficult as you travel down the road of life to find balance because you don't trust. And that was bunny trailing off. I don't even know why I went into that, but trust is important. I think maybe in a later podcast or in a later video, we'll go ahead and get into that. But just know that trust is a big thing in finding balance. Where there is no trust, there is no balance. It's all got to be equal, right? Just like the definition. So, to our next one. How is balance used? Now, I want to say this. This is not a yin and yang principle, at least not for us as believers. When I talk about balance, I'm not talking about there's a little bit of calamity within the peace, and within the peace, there's a little bit of calamity. Um, I am talking about complete peace within something. I'm talking about learning how to be still when things are chaotic. I'm talking about figuring out what the plan is. I'm talking about, though you had everything scripted out, now you have to sit back and let things be. Because once you've tried everything, all you can do is wait. All you can do is be patient. So, how is balance used in life? More than likely, for the bulk of us, it's probably going to be used as a point to sit back, chill, relax. You hear it all the time. You need to, you need to constantly be working. You need to constantly go. You need to constantly, right? And not that that's bad, but if you never balance that out with time for yourself, time to decompress, time to reflect, time to move. The Bible even says there's a time and a place for everything. And if you read on in through Ephesians, it talks about the different sets of times for each thing. I don't think it's in Ephesians. Correct myself. It's in Ecclesiastes. I said Ephesians, but I meant Ecclesiastes. There's a time and a place for everything. Ecclesiastes is right after Proverbs, which is one of my favorite books of the Bible. So forgive me for that. Corrected myself. But yeah, we're not talking about putting a little piece of something within something. We're talking about finding what it is that you need to do, finding that perspective, finding what is the next point and how to do it. For so many of us, we just keep trying, keep going, and we oftentimes are worn out, worn down, and we keep on thinking to ourselves, we just need to try more. We need to get better. We need to do much more. And that's not always the thing that's needed. Sometimes we just need to slow down, and just figure out everything. Sometimes we just need to let go. But sometimes we need to sit down and schedule out a plan of action. Yes, that's the truth. Sometimes you do need to schedule out a plan of action. Sometimes you need to move, but you can never figure these things out if you never stop. what it is you're doing, or move from what it is you're not doing. That's the key in balancing. That's how you balance out your life. So, this was not going to be too long tonight. I think it's only going to be about a couple of more minutes that I got for you guys. But in conclusion, I say this: the balance you need, the balance you probably want, is found in one or two ways. It's either for you to go or for you to stop. It's up to you to figure out which one it is. You can't sit there and say that your life is one way or another if you've never chosen to balance it out. So, my people, I'm telling you this. If you got a lot of chaos in your life, maybe it's time for you to stop. If you don't see any progression in your life, maybe it's time for you to move. If everything is stifled and it's not working the way you want it to work, maybe it's time to seek a different plan of action and ask for some advice. If you feel stagnant and plateaued, maybe it's time to ask some questions. This is balance. This is balance. And we all need it, including myself. I need it. We all want to achieve a lot of stuff in life, but we've got to ask ourselves, what is it all for? Why do we want it so bad? And if at the end of the day we can't answer that with solid reasoning, maybe it's time for us to stop and balance it out. Because I tell you this, life is not going to get much easier as you continue to go and grow. It's going to get tougher, but you can make it substantially easier if you learn how to balance yourself out. If you learn how to figure out things, if you learn how to stop, if you learn how to go, if you learn how to push forward, if you learn how to make plans, you can definitely, you'll definitely find out that things become a lot easier in that aspect. And you'll begin to see what you do flourish, because now it's not just you putting in effort, it's you putting thought behind the effort, it's you having strategy with the plans, it's you having wisdom along with the knowledge that you've got. It's not just you doing, it's actually you knowing what to do and when to do it, knowing when to go, when to stop, when to proceed, when to move forward. So, with all that being said, I think that's all I'm going to say for tonight. I really hope that you guys are getting something from each one of these videos or podcasts. And as we move forward, once again, I will reiterate, we'll start to incorporate people and having these discussions be a little bit more lengthy and letting people chime into the discussion and tell how they feel. But uh, and keep helping me out. If you like it, once again, hit that like, subscribe to the YouTube channel, check out that Instagram. Once again, at Sincere the Artist, and I'll see you on the next one. Blessings, peace.